Picture this. You're lounging on the Lido deck, finally feeling the stress of the past 6 months melt away. You've got a perfect margarita in hand, and for the first time in forever, you're actually reading that book you've been carrying around since 2019. Then it happens. A pack of sugar-fueled tornadoes comes barreling around the corner like they're fleeing a zombie apocalypse. These pint-sized pirates proceed to cannonball into the pool, sending a tsunami of chlorinated water cascading over your pristine pages and directly into your margarita. Your literary escape is now a soggy mess. Your drink tastes like sunscreen, and your peace has evaporated like morning mist in the Caribbean sun. As you watch the mob of mischief makers high-five each other while completely oblivious to the destruction in their wake, you can't help but wonder, is it time to ban kids from cruising? Before you start drafting angry notes to leave in the comments section, let me be clear. This isn't about hating children. Kids can be an absolute delight. But somewhere between the ship leaving port and hitting international waters, a disturbing number of them transform into little Vikings with zero concept of basic courtesy, shared space, or the laws of physics. What's the worst kid encounter you've had on a cruise? Did you survive the infamous deck chair meltdown or witness a full throttle hallway race with ice cream cones? Drop your story in the comments. Now, if you are traveling with kids or grandkids and want to avoid them turning into the headline of someone else's rant, check out our Ultimate Cruise Activity Book for kids ages 5 to 8 or the Ultimate Cruise Journal for kids ages 8 to 12. These are fun, screen-free ways to keep your young cruisers busy, entertained, and, most importantly, out of trouble. Trust us, the Lido deck will thank you. Few places reveal the breakdown of civilized behavior quite like a cruise ship elevator. In theory, using one should be simple. Press the button for the deck you want, wait, ride, exit. But throw in a gaggle of unsupervised children and suddenly the control panel becomes a carnival game. They'll slap every button from 1 to 15 like it's a DJ booth at a toddler rave. What should be a quick 30-second ride transforms into a multi-stop tour of every deck on the ship. You stand there watching the elevator open on deck 3, empty, deck 4, also empty, deck 6, still empty. Meanwhile, the little conductors cackle like they've just pulled off the heist of the century. And where are the parents during this button-pushing bonanza? Usually staring at their phones like they're decoding the secrets of the universe. Although, sometimes they're completely absent, having apparently decided that a cruise ship is the perfect place for a hands-off parenting experiment. It's a relief when the elevator doors finally open on your floor. Unless you're heading to the Lido deck and you realize that you've only traded one arena of unchecked childhood energy for another. I mean, you'd think a pool large enough to accommodate dozens of people could provide some semblance of peaceful coexistence. You'd be wrong. Despite the fact that most cruise ships thoughtfully include splash zones and water parks designed specifically for the under 12 crowd, many children prefer the thrill of invading the main pool like it's international waters and no rules apply. They jump in with the force of a small meteorite, sending out tidal waves that seismologists on nearby islands could probably detect. If you dare to use the pool during your cruise, you'll find yourself caught in the crossfire of Sharks and Minnows Extreme Edition as the would-be water sprites demonstrate a complete lack of awareness that other humans exist. If the pool is bad, the hot tub is where civilized society officially raises the white flag of surrender. These bubbling sanctuaries turn into overcrowded soup pots faster than you can say maximum capacity 8 people. I witnessed this firsthand on the Carnival celebration, where a squadron of snorkel-wearing scallywags had turned the hot tub into their personal research submarine. Yes, you heard that right. Snorkeling in a hot tub. These junior marine biologists were diving down to explore the mysterious depths of 4 feet of heavily chlorinated water like Jacques Cousteau investigating the Titanic. It's bad enough when the general pools and hot tubs are overrun by munchkins, but the real kicker? Many of these invasions happen in adults-only zones. You know, the exclusive sanctuary you dreamed about for weeks, now transformed into a daycare annex with better furniture. You'll find knee-high infiltrators splashing in the pools, sprawled across loungers and treating the area like their personal playground, while their oblivious parents sip cocktails nearby. Honestly, at this point, maybe the adults-only areas do need a bouncer. Someone in aviators and a linen shirt, sternly turning away 12-year-olds whose parents insist he's very mature for his age. Because, as it stands, sometimes the age limit is about as enforced as a speed limit on an empty highway. To be fair, part of the problem is a design flaw of the ships themselves. On many Royal Caribbean ships, the adult-only solarium serves double duty as a connecting conduit between different sections of the Lido deck. So even well-intentioned families end up marching their entire brigade of rugrats directly through your peaceful sanctuary just to get from point A to point B. Even if these tiny tourists don't stop to sample the forbidden adult-only water, their mere presence completely destroys the tranquil atmosphere you are there for. Carnival, meanwhile, seems to have figured out the secret formula. Their Serenity Retreat is strategically removed from the main traffic pattern so the area remains sacrosanct. Cruise ship dining rooms are supposed to be elegant. White tablecloths, attentive service, and the quiet clink of silverware. But these days, you're often treated to an atmosphere that's more Chuck E. Cheese, just with better food. It usually starts with a kid launching himself from a booster seat to do laps around the dining room like he's training for a triathlon. Along the way, he stops at random tables to offer culinary critiques. That steak looks weird. We had chicken nuggets. Want to see? Congratulations! You've just been visited by the self-appointed ambassador of Table 258. Meanwhile, siblings are yelling and silverware's hitting the floor like it's part of the soundtrack. The whole room hums with the unmistakable energy of kids who skip their nap and double down on dessert. The staff, to their credit, handle it like pros, expertly dodging roaming children while balancing trays of hot soup, all while smiling like they're not one spilled sundae away from early retirement. As for the adults hoping for a quiet dinner and maybe even a little bit of romance, the ambience is thoroughly wrecked. Maybe it's time for cruise lines to consider a family section in the dining room. Ideally, soundproof with escape hatches. And if you thought the dining room was bad, just wait until you hit the buffet. What should be a sprawling cornucopia of culinary delights often feels more like the opening scene of a post-apocalyptic survival movie. At the center of the chaos, you guessed it, the kid crew. Armed with dessert plates larger than their heads and the decision-making skills of a squirrel in traffic, they navigate the buffet with the grace of a blindfolded sumo wrestler. We've seen kids grab cookies with their bare hands, sneeze directly on a passerby's plate, and transform their table into an abstract art piece made entirely of mashed potatoes and ketchup. Don't even get me started on the soft serve machines, which somehow always end up looking like it lost a fight with a fire hose. Cruise ship entertainment venues should be sanctuaries of culture and class. I even hoped that a cruise might teach kids a bit of theater etiquette. Sit still, stay quiet, maybe clap at the right time. Alas, that hope vanished when we cruised on the Carnival Mardi Gras. There, a determined young girl decided the best seat in the house was on the floor, directly in front of us, despite the fact that there were several perfectly good seats available in the area. She wormed her way through the crowd and plopped down right in our line of sight. At first, I didn't understand the complete lack of decorum demonstrated by this child who was clearly old enough to know better. But the mystery was solved when her mother, a full-grown adult, joined her, crouching beside her like this was perfectly acceptable theater etiquette. Cruise ship corridors weren't designed for running, but apparently no one passed that memo to the local herd of sprinters who treat these hallways like Olympic training grounds. They barrel down the corridors at just under the speed of sound, and their thunderous charge is guaranteed to interrupt your afternoon nap like a stampede of caffeinated wildebeest. But it's not just the noise, it's a safety hazard. These kids take corners like stunt drivers in Fast and Furious, with zero regard for elderly passengers with walkers or crew members carrying trays. A word of warning, if you're tempted to stop these hooligans yourself, think twice. One retired cop learned that the hard way when he grabbed a girl from running with scissors aboard the Carnival Encounter this summer, and ended up in handcuffs himself. If you're concerned about the hallways, you might want to look away for this next one. Balconies and exterior promenades should be places for Instagram-worthy sunset photos. Instead, they become jungle gyms for young daredevils who think cruise ship railings are really just expensive monkey bars. The most chilling example happened on the Disney Dream just a month ago. A young girl fell from a balcony railing when her father looked away. One moment of inattention, one slip, and what was a fun family vacation could have been an unspeakable tragedy. Fortunately, in this case, the father jumped into action, heroically diving into the ocean and treading water with his daughter as they awaited rescue by the crew of the Disney Dream. The reality is that cruise ship railings aren't designed to contain determined climbers. They're designed to prevent accidental falls by people behaving normally. Parents need to understand that the cute fearlessness that makes their little adventurers so endearing on land becomes potentially lethal at sea. This is why it's imperative to teach children the importance of following all safety rules on a cruise ship. These aren't arbitrary restrictions. They're literally life or death boundaries that exist because the ocean is an unforgiving environment with zero tolerance for mistakes. There's no room for kids being kids when it comes to safety protocols. After hearing about all the shenanigans that children get up to on a cruise, first-time cruisers might wonder, wait, don't cruise ships have kids zones for this exact reason? They do. Most ships offer well-designed youth programs packed with activities, vibrant play areas, and the latest tech. In theory, it's the perfect setup for parents. Drop your child off in a safe, supervised space while you enjoy some much-needed adult time. But there's one problem. Despite all the activities and kid-friendly design, the clubs are often half empty. Given the choice, most kids would rather roam the ship than be confined to one room, no matter how many beanbags, craft tables, or touchscreens it has. Royal Caribbean has taken a step towards solving this by introducing a Find My Kid feature in their app. It's compatible with their WOW bands and allows parents to track their kid's location around the ship. But this isn't a replacement for parenting, it's just a tool. And that brings us to the uncomfortable truth no one wants to talk about. Where are the parents during all this cruise ship chaos? Many treat the ship like a floating babysitter, kicking back while their kids run wild through the halls. They've paid good money for this vacation, darn it, and they're going to enjoy it, even if it means turning their little angels loose on unsuspecting fellow passengers. But here's a reality check. Your vacation doesn't give you the right to dump your unsupervised children on everyone else. Of course, we're not talking about all parents. The majority do try, bless their exhausted hearts. You can spot them frantically chasing after their energetic explorers and generally looking like they need a vacation from their vacation. These parents deserve a smile and maybe a complimentary cocktail. But then there are the parents who have entered some sort of vacation-induced coma, completely tuned out while their progeny conduct social experiments in chaos theory. These are the folks who need a gentle wake-up call about the difference between family fun and public nuisance. So, what's a concerned passenger to do when confronted with someone else's unruly child? Well-meaning cruisers find themselves in an impossible position. Do nothing, and you risk enduring hours of disruption or worse, witnessing preventable accidents. Intervene, and you are labeled the cruise ship Karen who can't tolerate children having fun. The unspoken rule seems to be suffer in silence while hoping that the parent will finally take responsibility. Well, we're not the type to stay silent when kids cross the line on cruise ship etiquette, and nothing illustrates that better than our experience aboard the Disney Magic. Yes, we know Disney cruises are geared towards families, but we still expected a basic level of respectful behavior. Apparently, that was too much to ask. We attended a show in the main theater during our cruise. Right before the show, the crew amped up the crowd and encouraged everyone to make some noise. The child behind us took this to heart and let out a shriek so piercing, it left my mother-in-law's left ear ringing for the rest of the night. Several strategic glares aimed at her parents were met with blank stares, so my husband was forced to take matters into his own hands. If you want to hear the whole story, watch this video next. Even more interesting, read the hundreds of comments where people weighed in on what we should have done. In the meantime, go ahead and book that extended family vacation. Let the cousins make memories they'll talk about for years. Just set a few ground rules first and be sure to follow through to help your kids understand cruise ship etiquette. And remember, whether you're a parent, a child, or just a kid at heart, adventure awaits.